Well, this is Colonel Keith Isaacson, and I don't know your formal title, forgive me. You're the Director of Security for Eshkol, which is the region, the region primarily, we would call it a county, bordering the Gaza area. This is your first visit here. Anything you want to say to our congregation? You've never been exposed to hillbillies quite like this before.
You know, after flying for, well, it took me 24 hours to get here. I'll be here for about 48 hours, and like you said, Pastor, on Monday morning I'm leaving. And the reason I'm doing this is mainly two reasons. One, the fellowship asked me, and when they ask me, I do it. And the second thing is just to say thank you to all your people, to all the people that are here and that are listening to us, that have been helping us for years. And when I sat with Pastor Allen, I understood he's been to Israel and he's been helping Israel for decades. So just to thank you, and that we in Israel, we need this help. We need this backing. We need the prayers. And you can see what's happening in the world. Many countries all of a sudden are voting against Israel. Anti-Semitism is rising. But I think we, as Jews living in Israel, we know we have the backing of people like you. Thank you very much.
Well, I'd like to start. Too many Americans get their news from unreliable sources, places of great integrity like TikTok. Although I'm not sure that has less integrity than some of the more celebrated formats these days. So my apologies to TikTok. But October the 7th was personal to you. It was your assignment and you were in the midst of that. Can you give us just briefly what happened and the impact of that? I mean, I have the numbers, 216 killed that were under you, but I mean, can you give us a bit of an overview?
So my region is one of 4 regions that are around the Gaza border. It's the biggest one, 32 communities out of 66. So I'm in charge of 32 communities. The communities are small, between 500 and 1,200 people living in a community. But it's very different to, you know, when I came into Nashville, I said, wow, everything's open, trees, lakes. With us, everything's closed. Every community that I'm talking about has got a fence, electric fence, a road, security guards, cameras, and everything. And we knew what was happening on the other side. We knew that they're not our friends. But we didn't realize that for 12 years, since plus minus 2012, they've been organizing this attack. And they surprised us. They surprised us in 4 different ways. One, the amount, we are talking between 5,500 to 6,500 terrorists that penetrated the border. 2, a group that hit all our radar systems, cameras, radars, and everything. They did it in a very professional way. 3, at the same time, attacking 28 communities, 16 of my communities, and the rest in the other region. Altogether, 28 communities simultaneously. And the 4th thing, or 3rd thing, attacking all the bases. We have many bases, small bases like companies, platoons, battalions, brigades, divisions. They attacked all these units simultaneously. And the 4th thing that they did was very clever, is they did ambushes in every entrance to the 65-kilometer area. So anyone that tried to come and help us was attacked. So these 4 things simultaneously by 6,500 terrorists for the first 12 hours. There's a lot of chaos. No one knew what was happening. And it was a surprise. And hopefully it won't happen again. But we said that after the Yom Kippur War, and we said that after Second World War. So don't say never, just make sure that you are ready.
October the 7th was the greatest loss of Jewish life in a day, single day, since the Holocaust.
Exactly.
And it was personal. I heard you tell your story in another setting, and your daughter was in another one of the communities, and she was calling you for help?
Well, at the same time, on Friday, the 6th of October, we had dinner together. It's, I think, very similar to you guys. We get together. So I have 2 sets of twins. They all came for the dinner on Friday. One daughter went back to her small village, which is about 10 minutes away. My other daughter lives in Tel Aviv, so she went back to Tel Aviv. The third daughter lives about 5 minutes away, also in another community. And my son lives also in another community, also 5 minutes away. So after dinner, they all went to their houses. And my colonel, who has been a colonel for a year and a half, brought for the first time his young son to the base, 6 years old, and he asked me for an ATV. I said, no problem, I'll wake up early on Saturday and give you the ATV. Anyway, to cut things short, I wake up very early. At 6:29, the attack starts. My kids are all in different communities. I leave the house very quickly. My colonel, who was killed at 7 o'clock in the morning already, but at 6:29 sent me a message and said, get everyone into shelter. Everyone means the 17,000 people living in my community. So within 3 minutes, I sent a message to 17,000 people, get into shelter. I went home, because I was outside already, got dressed into a uniform because I belong to the unit and I'm automatically recruited into the Israeli army. As I'm getting dressed, at 6:40, he sends another message. We have been attacked in multiple places. So I said to where? Just tell me where, because we knew we were going to be attacked one day. Just tell me where, which community. He said, no, everywhere. So at 6:43 in the morning, I sent a message to all my officers. I have 33 officers. I said, get all your first responders out. We at war. 15 minutes later, he was already killed, and I was on my way to the base.
How many of your officers survived the day?
First of all, I didn't tell you about my family.
I wasn't going to let you forget. We were going back there.
Okay, so we'll go back to my family. I lost 32 of my officers that day. And everyone has a story behind them. Everyone is a hero because losing those 32 officers, we saved thousands. They saved, not me. They saved thousands of their own people, their own communities. And actually this week, that's why I'm flying also back on Monday. I have to get to 32 cemeteries and graves to pay my respects.
So in the midst of the chaos that morning, your daughter calls.
She calls. I don't answer her. She says, I hear there's a lot of shooting in the community. I had no communication because I said the communication was there was a problem. So she phones. I'm already in the field, so she phones my operation room. She says, I hear a lot of shooting. I didn't really know what was happening there. I first said, go to your grandmother's house, go into the shelter, and wait there. And that's what she did. At the end of the day, 17 terrorists entered that community. A lot of fighting. 5 of my officers were killed, 2 injured, but no civilian. The fighting was so severe, and most probably a lot were killed and injured from the enemy. They just decided to steal 2 other cars, and all 17 with the injured and with the dead went back to Gaza. She stayed for 10 hours in the safe room until my brother, who before, since the morning, was fighting at the junction, not letting any terrorists enter the 7 particular communities where I live, killed many terrorists that day. Only after 10 hours went to him. The other daughter with my grandchild, she also tried to get hold of me and wanted to get permission for me to leave the community and go towards Eilat, far away. But unfortunately, I couldn't give her approval. And the reason was, everyone talks about the 7th of October. But the last terrorists that were killed were the 21st of October. We were fighting for 2 weeks. No one talks about it. Yes, 95% of the fighting was the 7th of October. But there were many, many pockets of terrorists. They came very well equipped. They wanted to do much, much more what they did. And there was a lot of fighting for 2 weeks. But we managed after 2 days, by Monday, this happened on Saturday, by Monday, to get all the 17,000 people out of the communities to Eilat, to the hotels in Eilat, and to the Dead Sea, and to Tel Aviv. And only a small group of security officers, and of course the army, took over this area. After a year, 22 communities came back. After 2 years, about a month ago, another 6 communities came back. And we are still 4 communities that will take between a year to 2 years to rebuild their communities, because they were hit the most. So we still have 4 communities that we are waiting for them to come back within a year to 2 years.
You mentioned the shelters where you directed everyone to go. I think that's probably a little unknown to us. We have shelters for tornadoes. In Israel, they build shelters from attacks. Many homes have them, apartment buildings will have them, and in communities will have larger shelters. So when you said you sent all the people to the shelters, it was to protect them because the attack started with rocket fire.
For many years, especially since 2001, we've been attacked sometimes once a month, sometimes every couple of weeks, every couple of months, escalations.
Let me interrupt. Those communities along Gaza have lived under consistent rocket fire.
Yes.
For many, many, many years.
Yes, 24 years. So we didn't expect a ground attack. We know rocket attacks. We used to rocket attacks. Every house, first of all, there's a law in Israel since 1994 that you build a house, you have to have a bomb shelter. One of the rooms is a certified bomb shelter. And who didn't have in our area, after 2014, the government actually paid and built shelters. So we were very used to these escalations, these rockets falling on us for many times, tens of thousands. I would like to put a question mark. What would happen if Mexico will shoot one rocket into Arizona, into Texas? What will happen to Mexico? So these escalations have been going on for 21 years, 24 years in our area. So the instant of the 7th of October, okay, another escalation, a lot of rockets, getting to the bomb shelters. But unfortunately, sometimes this was very different because of the ground attack. And a lot of people also were killed in the bomb shelters because the terrorists came into the houses. These bomb shelters are not equipped against shooting into the doors. It's not bulletproof doors. It's bulletproof. It's like a bulletproof building, concrete and everything, but the doors are not bulletproof. And it also is not against smoke. So what happened, they shot the doors, and people were actually, many families were holding the handle because it doesn't really lock. You don't really need to lock it because of bombs falling. So a lot of people were killed from the bullets from the other side. And where the terrorists couldn't get into, what they did, they just burnt the houses. There are hundreds of houses that were burnt, and most of the victims were found afterwards dead, or the remainings of the victims.
There's two more points I want to be sure we make, and it's a congregation, and I know you want to be respectful of where you are, but the truth is important on this. I went to D.C., to the embassy, to see some of the security video and such. And the attack began with trained terrorists, but it wasn't limited to that. The citizens of Gaza on their bicycles and their pickup trucks, I mean, it lasted for several hours, and they came in waves. And when they arrived, the treatment, it wasn't like you would expect from combatants. I don't have language to describe it. There was nothing about it humane.
You know, one thing I learned, we have a new mayor, it's a lady, and I heard her said, you know, we say they're not human beings, they're animals, they're monsters. And she said, no, they're human beings that have learned to hate, kill, destroy. Now you're right, a few waves. For instance, kibbutz near Oz. That's a kibbutz that was hit the most in my area, most severe. 76 hostages from that community. There's only 400 people living in there. 39 were killed that day. First wave was 120, what we call the Nukhba, the elite of the Hamas. But they were not the worst. The second and third wave, what we say, civilians, they did the worst atrocities. The civilians, they did not have the weapons, they never trained to kill. They came whatever they had, slaughtered, raped, amputated, and whatever you can think of. It's the civilians that did the worst atrocities to our communities. And what I'm trying to say, if there's 2.2 million, I don't know how many there are exactly, but more or less, Palestinians living in Gaza, everyone is Hamas. Everyone. Because everyone is taught, unfortunately, since he goes, from the moment he goes to kindergarten, 3 years old, he's taught to hate his neighbor, to kill, to slaughter. And it's not written in any Bible, not in the Quran, not in the Bible, nothing. But this is how they are learned. And even if we want peace one day, it will take decades and decades to get to what we want, which I don't believe, unfortunately. But yes, I have not seen those videos. I personally can't. It's not for me. The videos, unfortunately, I don't know why Israel should show the world those videos, but unfortunately, I know the world will say it's not authentic. But they were so proud of themselves, the terrorists, they all had these cameras on the head, I don't know what you call them. GoPro, that they filmed almost everything what they did. And we have everything. Because that day we killed 1,600 terrorists, we captured more or less 400 out of the 6,000, 2,000. So we have all the footage that I haven't seen. but we have everything.
Well, some of you will remember right after October 7th, there was a number of people saying it was all a fabrication. It's the reason I went to look. But the point I've heard you make was that one of their objectives was to create enough terror that the Israelis wouldn't come back to those communities.
Before I answer that, I'm here, sitting here and talking to you guys for two reasons. One, God, and you can't argue with that. And the second is actually the International Fellowship for Christians and Jews. 2021, they came to me and said, what do you need? What do you really need? What's something special? And I said, I need an armored car because I can't do my job when there's missiles and I'm going from community to community. I need an armored car. It took about first of all, that moment she said, you'll have it. It took about a year, and at the beginning of 23, I got my armored car. That day, I was attacked twice.
On October 7th, you were attacked twice. Yeah.
On October 7th, I was attacked twice. I still have the bullet holes in the car where it's not armored, because not everything is armored. And that car now is standing next to my house, and I have two cars. When there's a reason I have to go with the armored car, I go for the armored car, and if I have to go with the regular car, I go. So it's a good place to thank the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. There's also a few other communities around America that have been helping me, also like you, that have been helping for many years. They've been before October the 7th, during October the 7th, and the hard times now. We haven't finished. We're still at war. We still have to rebuild. And what was the question?
Well, I've heard you say that one of the goals of Hamas was to drive the Israelis out, particularly so the young families would never come back.
One of the hostages was a very good friend of mine, and she phoned me up at 8 o'clock asking for help, and then 10 o'clock asking again for help. At 12, she herself, her husband, her twins who were kidnapped. She came back after a month and 50-something days with her two kids. Her husband is still in Gaza. We know he's one of the 20-plus minor that is alive. And when she came back, I didn't call her. It wasn't for me, but she phoned me and she said she wants to talk to me. And she said they kept asking her all the time, are you going back? She's from Nir Oz, from that community that was suffered. Are you going to go back? Of course, she's not stupid. She says, no, I'm not going back. But they asked many, many times. The Hamas, there were a few groups to kill, groups to, the main thing is to kidnap and capture. That was their main goal. And the third group was to destroy. And the idea to destroy doesn't also matter if they killed. There were about 40 or maybe a bit more Thai workers that work in our area that were killed. It didn't really matter to them. The idea was to destroy and kill and make sure that we won't want to come and live in that area again. But they don't know who they're dealing with. Not only that we're not coming back, we are rebuilding, we're going to expand, and we are going to be better and better and better.
Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel. You know the drill. Hit the bell for notifications. If you want to, leave a comment.